Hey, I've been calling these films that I'm making in this series Raw Encounters. And raw, spelled backwards, is war. Now, I myself have not been in military. I have not been in any situation that has been labeled war. However, over my years here on this earth, I have met people that have been in that context. Now, once again, war is basically a hoax. And every testimonial I've had verifies this, okay? So I'm going to simply try to relate to you about World War I. And this is a film, I guess, that was done for the Army Corps to try to teach them about what they call gas attacks and what they need to do in the event that poison gas is used, okay? So this is a training film. So I can talk about two individuals and what we call the First World War. I can talk specifically about my grandfather. My grandfather enlisted to serve in the First World War. And I have photographs of him in his uniform. He was ready to go. He was inducted and everything. Now what happened was that my grandfather lied to the recruiter. He was only 17 years of age. And his father, I guess, decided enough is enough. And he went to the post where my grandfather was stationed. And he had discussions with the one in charge of the post. And he showed the proof that my grandfather was really only 17 years of age. That he had basically lied about his age so he could, quote, go off and fight. So my grandfather was discharged and let go and never went back into service ever again. And that's the end of the story for my grandfather. But my grandfather had a brother. And his brother enlisted and went overseas. I believe they were in France. Now, I never met his brother and actually talked to him about the First World War. But I met and talked with his widow long after he had died. So now I'm getting the story from my grandfather's brother, would have been my mother's uncle or my great uncle, to his wife. And I remember very vividly going to visit with her, and she recalled the days of when her husband was in the war. And about the only thing really that she told me was that his whole unit, quote, got gassed. And then after that, they were sent home. So there's no other story that I know of or any other details or anything at all except, quote, her husband got gassed, and that would have been my mother's uncle. Now let's talk a little bit about that. Since we're in the season of everybody wearing a mask. Would it not be easy to hoax gas attacks? What would you need to do? – Basically, you can just light off a smoke bomb of some sort and sound the alarm and tell everybody to put on a gas mask. And of course, once it's all said and done and over with, they'll all think their gas mask saved them. So there's a lot of hoaxing going on, and in the First World War, the hoaxing of gas attacks also occurred. Now these are just training films and so forth, but most likely they're just blowing smoke around. Oh, there's a guy who doesn't have a mask on, so quick, get a mask on him, quick. It's just smoke. Now, something I know about smoke in general, many years ago I trained to be a volunteer firefighter. And the man that trained us, he actually was in World War I, so he knew a little something about smoke. And he told us at the time that many, many years ago, a lot of firefighters went into homes without protection. And it wasn't too bad at all, because most homes did not have synthetics. In other words, it was just like a campfire. It was just basically wood burning and maybe a few other things, but he taught us in that course on firefighting that once synthetics came into existence, it was necessary for firefighters to go into buildings with a mask on. So here's the thought. Anyone could have claimed and said they had gas attacks with chlorine gas or mustard gas, when basically it was just a smoke bomb. They would have been probably just like standing around a campfire somewhere and smoke blowing in your face. Well, that's about all I've got to say about World War I. The only other thing I can say is I do remember as a child growing up, we'd have parades on Memorial Day, and they would usually have like a Corvette or convertible, and in that car there would be veterans. And I remember there was about 3 veterans of World War I when I was young, and then I do remember the day when they disappeared. In other words, time had taken them. So I'm passing down to you, it was passed down to me. The only thing his widow could say was they got gas attacked and then sent home. So it just might have been an excuse to do some, as Dave would say, Dave Johnson, strategic relocation. Light a smoke bomb, everybody puts on a mask, some people do a little bit of coughing, and then they say, oh, this unit got gas attacked, so let's move it somewhere else or send it home. Those are my thoughts, and that's about all I can say right now about World War I and encounters with people that have been in these situations as related to me. As always, I thank you for watching. This is the end of the video.